Severe deficiency in vitamin D isn't just a nutritional gap. It increases the risk of hospitalization for respiratory infections by 33%, turning common illnesses into critical medical events.
Welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. Stay informed with quick, easy-to-listen summaries of our latest articles, perfect for when you're on the go. No reading required. Subscribe for free at mercola.com for the latest health insights.
Hello and welcome to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. Today we're unpacking a topic that, honestly, it changes how we should think about our lungs, our immune system, and even the sun. We're looking at some research that really challenges this idea that getting a bad respiratory infection is just, bad luck.
It's great to be here. And you're so right. That whole bad luck idea is what we really need to dismantle today.
The research we're going through suggests the difference between a few days on the couch and a stay in the ICU often comes down to what you might call the biological terrain of the host.
Terrain. I like that word. Because I think for most people, myself included, growing up, you just think of vitamin D as the bone vitamin, Drink your milk, get strong bones.
Right.
But the sources we're looking at today frame it as something much, much more powerful. Well, calling it a vitamin is actually a bit of a misnomer, biologically speaking. In immunology, it functions as a steroid hormone.
A hormone.
A hormone. That's the key insight. It's not a brick in a wall. It's an active messenger. It goes into the nucleus of your cells, it unlocks your DNA, and it literally gives instructions. It's reprogramming your immune system.
So deficiency isn't just running low on gas. It's more like a communication breakdown at the genetic level.
Exactly that. The instructions just don't get delivered.
Yeah.
And the really insidious part, the stealth threat, is that you don't feel it day to day.
Right.
You might feel a bit tired, or maybe a cut takes a little longer to heal, but you feel fine, mostly, until a major stressor hits.
And that's when the cracks in the foundation suddenly become a real problem.
A structural failure.
Yeah.
And the data shows this isn't an edge case. It's not just the elderly or people who are already unwell.
So it's a systems level issue.
It is. The link between low vitamin D and severe respiratory outcomes,
Right.
It just cuts across age, ethnicity, even prior health status. It's a universal biological tipping point.
Okay, let's get into the hard numbers. We've got this massive study from the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. We're talking, over 36,000 adults? That's a huge data set.
Oh, it's incredibly significant. They were looking for predictive factors. Can a simple blood test predict who ends up in the hospital? And they found a very clear danger zone.
A danger zone.
They defined severe deficiency as any level below 6 nanograms per milliliter. That's 15 nanomoles per liter.
Hold on, 6, just for context, what's a normal or sufficient level supposed to be?
Well, clinical sufficiency is often pegged at 30, and optimization is much higher. So being at 6 is you're running on fumes. It's critically low.
Okay.
And the study found that compared to adults who were at that baseline of 30, those in the danger zone below 6 had a 33% increased risk of hospitalization for respiratory infections.
33%. That's a massive margin. It's not a rounding error.
No. That's the difference between managing an illness at home and needing serious medical intervention. It turns a manageable bug into a medical crisis.
Wow.
But here's the part that I found really compelling. It wasn't a simple on-off switch. It wasn't just you're safe or you're unsafe. The study found a continuous linear benefit. For every 4 nanograms per milliliter you increase your levels, your risk of hospitalization drops by about 4%.
So every single step up that ladder matters. You're literally building a stronger shield bit by bit.
Precisely. It really validates this idea that resilience is a spectrum.
But I want to understand the why, the mechanism. We know it's a hormone, but what is it physically doing in our lungs that stops us from ending up in the hospital?
It works on 2 fronts. First, it's a weapon. Vitamin D triggers the cells lining your respiratory tract, the epithelial cells, to produce these things called antimicrobial peptides.
Antimicrobial peptides.
Yeah, things like catholicitins and defensins. Think of them as your body's own natural antibiotics. They can literally punch holes in the membranes of microbial invaders.
So they destroy the pathogen before it can get a foothold.
Exactly. So that's the source.
Okay, what's the shield?
The shield is inflammation control. This is so crucial because with severe respiratory infections, it's often not the bug itself that does the most damage. It's the body's overreaction to it.
The immune system panicking.
It panics. It unleashes this storm of inflammation, fills the lungs with fluid, destroys healthy tissue. Vitamin D modulates that response. It basically tells the immune system, fight the invader, but don't burn down the house.
And that seems to be the critical difference, right? A targeted strike versus a scorched earth policy.
Exactly. Without that regulation, The collateral damage is what lands people in the hospital.
Which brings us to the second big study we have here from Open Forum Infectious Diseases. This one looked past hospitalization and focused on survival rates for community-acquired pneumonia. And the findings here they were stark.
They really were. This study tracked 514 adults admitted with pneumonia. They didn't just look at who survived the first week, they followed them for months. And the mortality risk for deficient patients was, well, it was alarming.
Alarming is an understatement. The data showed a 3.5-fold higher risk of death within 90 days.
Yes. 3.5 times more likely to die within 3 months. And that risk didn't go away. Even at 180 days, 6 months later, they still had more than triple the mortality risk compared to patients with sufficient levels.
So that implies the deficiency messes with the body's ability to recover long after the acute infection is technically over. Why would the risk hang around for half a year?
It comes back to that reset mechanism we talked about. After a major infection, your body needs to repair tissue, clear out all the debris, and calm down that inflammatory response. The study suggests vitamin D is essential for that cleanup and repair phase.
I see.
If you're deficient, the inflammation just kind of smolders. The lungs don't fully heal, the whole system stays stressed, and that leaves you vulnerable.
It's like the cleanup crew never came after the big storm, so you're just living in a damaged house.
That's a perfect way to put it. And the study noted that this deficiency often clustered with other stress factors, like smoking or low B12 and folate levels. It paints a picture of a system that's already running on empty.
Okay, so we've covered the severe end hospitalization mortality, but let's bring it back to everyday reality. Not everyone ends up in the hospital, but a lot of people feel like they catch every single bug that goes around. Is there a connection?
Absolutely. We've got a study from Advances in Integrative Medicine that looked at exactly that, the common cold scenario. They followed about 200 healthy adults in Australia.
And the pattern held up, even for minor stuff.
Mirrored it perfectly. The adults with the lowest vitamin D levels reported the most colds and flu. As their levels went up, the number of illnesses they reported went down.
So if you're that person who's always sniffling from November through March, this could be the root cause.
It's a very, very strong candidate. But this is actually where the good news starts. Because unlike a lot of chronic conditions, this is reversible and fast.
I loved this part of the data. Walk us through that.
So in that same study, they put the participants on a supplementation protocol. In just 3 months, their average levels went from about 18 nanograms per milliliter, which is insufficient, all the way up to 39.
Wow.
And 85% of the people in the study reached sufficient levels.
That's a huge win, a quarter of a year to totally change your biological terrain.
It proves that you're not just destined to have a weak immune system, it's a fixable problem.
Okay, so let's pivot to the fix, the action plan. The source material is very clear. This isn't just about popping a pill. It all starts with our relationship with the sun.
It really does. We are solar-powered creatures in a sense. Our skin is designed to make vitamin D3 when it's exposed to UVB rays. It's the most natural, most bioavailable form there is. The source even talks about our built-in biological meter for it, the pinkness signal.
Right, when you get just a little bit pink.
Exactly. That slight pinkness is the signal that you've maxed out your production for the day. Staying out longer and burning doesn't get you more vitamin D, it just causes damage.
But this is where the source material throws a major curveball. It basically argues that what you eat determines whether the sun helps you or hurts you. And it points a finger directly at industrial seed oils.
This is a critical insight, and it's often missed in the mainstream conversation. The source's argument is that your dietary fats make up your cell membranes. So if your diet is high in industrial seed oils, soybean, canola, corn, sunflower oil, you're loading your cells with something called linoleic acid, or LA.
And those oils are just everywhere, in almost all processed food.
Everywhere. The problem is that LA is chemically unstable. So when it gets built into your skin cells and then hit with UV light, it oxidizes very quickly. It breaks down. And that oxidative stress is what causes you to burn faster and suffer cellular damage.
So the argument is that we're not avoiding the sun because the sun is inherently bad, but because our diet has made our skin fragile.
That's the core of the argument. By getting rid of those seed oils, you make your cell membranes more stable and resilient. You can handle sun exposure without that immediate oxidative damage, which allows you to naturally generate the vitamin D you need.
That's a total paradigm shift. So the protocol is clean up the diet to protect the skin, then use the sun to boost your immunity.
Correct. And the source adds a smart buffer. If you're just starting to transition away from a diet high in seed oils, it takes time for that LA to cycle out of your cells. So start with early morning or late afternoon sun. Don't go out at high noon on day one.
It connects diet, skin health, and immune function into one single system.
It's all one system. You really can't isolate one part from another.
Of course, we have listeners in northern climates where sun just isn't an option for half the year. So the source talks about supplementation, but it's very specific that you can't just take vitamin D alone. It's a team sport.
It is, and taking it in isolation can actually be counterproductive. When you supplement with D3, you absolutely need cofactors. The two non-negotiables are magnesium and vitamin K2.
Okay, let's break those down. Why magnesium?
Magnesium is the ignition key. Vitamin D is inactive until your body converts it. That conversion process depends on enzymes, and those enzymes require magnesium to work. If you're deficient in magnesium, and a lot of people are, you can take all the vitamin D you want, and it will just sit there in your blood, inactive.
A full tank of gas, but no spark plug.
Great analogy. That's exactly it. And that's why some people take supplements and say they don't feel any different. They're missing the spark.
And what about K2? What's its job?
K2 is the traffic director. When you raise your vitamin D, your body absorbs more calcium, which is good, but you need that calcium to go into your bones and teeth. You do not want it getting deposited in your arteries or your soft tissues.
Oh, okay.
Vitamin K2 activates the proteins that grab that calcium and direct it into your skeleton. It prevents the calcification of your arteries.
That seems incredibly important. You don't want to solve one problem by creating another one.
It's all about balance.
Yeah.
Biology is all checks and balances.
The other big pillar of the strategy is data. The source is adamant. Test, don't guess.
Right. Because your absorption is so individual, we could both take the same dose and our blood levels could end up being wildly different. So the recommendation is to aim for a target range of 60 to 80 nanograms per milliliter.
Which is way higher than that 30 we talked about just for avoiding the danger zone.
Exactly. 30 is the survival baseline. 60 to 80 is the thriving zone. That's where you have that really robust biological shield. And the advice is to test strategically. Once in late winter, when you're at your lowest, and again in late summer, when you should be at your peak.
That way you learn your personal curve and can adjust. It's personalized health.
It is. It takes all the guesswork out of it.
There's one last factor mentioned in the action plan that I don't want to skip, especially for those winter months, and that's movement.
Yes, physical activity. And it's not just about general fitness. The source points out that exercise actually stimulates the enzymes in your muscles and liver that convert your stored vitamin D into its active, usable form.
So even if you have it stored away, you still have to actively mobilize it.
You do. Movement flips that switch. It keeps the system online even when the sun isn't available. If you're sedentary all winter, you're compounding the problem. You're not just missing the sun, you're failing to activate the reserves you already have.
Stagnation really is the enemy.
In every sense.
It's just amazing how integrated all of this is. We start with hospitalization stats and we end up on exercise and seed oils. It just drives home the point that you can't put your health into little boxes.
That's the ultimate takeaway. The body is one system. Your lungs rely on your hormones rely on your diet, and your diet dictates your relationship with the sun. It's all connected.
So to recap the strategy, we have the threat, a silent deficiency that turns common bugs into serious ends. We have the mechanism, a hormone that programs our immune defense, and we have the playbook.
And the playbook is powerful. Get your levels into that 60 to 80 range. Prioritize sunlight, but protect your skin first by cutting out industrial seed oils. Supplement smartly with D3, magnesium, and K2. Test to verify. And keep moving to keep the system active.
What I really appreciate about this whole approach is that it moves us away from a place of fear.
I agree completely. There's often this sense of helplessness where people feel like they're just waiting to get unlucky. This data flips that script entirely. It shows that the outcome is largely determined by you, the host. By maintaining this biological shield, you're not just treating sickness, you're preventing your system from ever reaching a breaking point in the first place.
It puts the agency right back in our hands. It's about building resilience, not just avoiding exposure.
Precisely. And in a world with so many uncertainties, that biological resilience is one of the few things we can actually control.
That is a powerful place to leave it. A huge thank you to everyone listening and learning with us today.
It has been a pleasure.
Thank you for listening to Dr. Mercola's Cellular Wisdom. See you in the next episode.
Looking for trusted health wisdom you can hold in your hands? Discover the life-changing books of Dr. Mercola at joyhousepublishing.com. These titles bring decades of natural health research into practical steps for better energy, stronger immunity, and clearer thinking. Take charge of your health with guidance rooted in science and experience. Visit joyhousepublishing.com now and claim your bonuses while they are available.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe now and click the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.